You're muted.
Not no more. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Yeah, I'm glad we're finally doing this.
I know. I know. Same. It's
We
been a
used,
while.
yeah, we used to talk about, remember when we would have those random meetings
Yes.
where we would just talk about true crime?
Yes. I thought we need to have like a little Friday get together with the people who enjoyed talking about it. So let's put time on our calendars.
We should. We should. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because there were several people interested. Matt told me just a second ago, he goes, okay, go crack the case. We will.
Yeah, we'll see what we could do.
I know.
Um, yeah, so typically what I do for these, I just, like you said earlier, I have some notes written up.
Yeah,
So I'll just dive into them
great.
and you can interrupt at any time.
Okay.
It's perhaps every parent's worst nightmare. Your young child not being where they're supposed to be. The anxiety quickly morphs into panic with every second that passes. That nightmare became a reality for one family in Florida during the fall of 1997. Sabrina Aisenberg, just shy of 5 months old, disappeared from the comfort of her crib in the middle of the night. Have you ever heard of this case?
No,
No? Okay.
no.
Well, it remains unknown what fate befell baby Sabrina that night more than 2 decades ago. Her family is among the many who continue to hold out hope that their daughter, who would now be 28 years old, is somewhere out there. This is the 1 minute and 43 seconds podcast, episode 63, and this is the story of the disappearance of Sabrina Aisenberg. So before we jump into the details of the case, which is quite heartbreaking, Suzi, my lovely guest, would you like to introduce yourself? Say a few words, whatever you like.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Megan. I am really excited to just chat about true crime with you. That was an amazing introduction. And yeah, but to a very sad story. Uh, I don't know anything about this situation and these circumstances, so looking forward to hearing them from you, so that we can have a discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I were former colleagues, um,
Yes.
and still friends,
Yes.
reconnecting recently.
Yes, and
Um,
we would talk about true crime. So I'm
yes,
excited that we finally, you told me about your podcast and you've invited me on before, but finally we've found the opportunity to do it. So I'm excited.
yeah, you're always welcome here on the
Thank
podcast.
you. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I will dive into the details. Like I said, interrupt me at any time, and we'll go from there and get the discussion going. Okay. So, Sabrina Page Eisenberg was born on June 27th, 1997, to parents Steve and Marlene Eisenberg. She was the couple's third child, a little sister to William and Monica. By all outward appearances, the Eisenbergs were a picture perfect family. Family photos show the five of them smiling ear to ear, baby Sabrina contentedly sitting on her mother's lap. In the summer of 1997, Steve and Marlene had no way of knowing that their seemingly idyllic life would soon be thrown into a tailspin. So, the Eisenbergs lived in Valrico, Florida, which is a suburb of Tampa, and their home was in an upscale neighborhood tucked away at the end of a cul-de-sac, just to paint a picture for you.
Great. Okay.
The story starts on the morning of November 24th, 1997, 28 years ago. Marlene Eisenberg woke up early, around 6 a.m., and the rest of the family was still asleep. She made her way into the kitchen to get her morning coffee, and at first, everything seemed normal. That is until she noticed a noise coming from a fish tank in another room, that she went to check on. According to one account, Marlene went to check on this fish tank, and in a separate interview with 2020, She recalled waking up to get her son out of bed first. I mean, both can be true, but I just thought I'd make that note.
Yep.
So what she noticed next would immediately raise an alarm. The door between the laundry room and the garage, which they normally kept closed, was open. Now, the Eisenbergs did not typically lock this door, but as Marlene looked through it, she could see something even more unsettling, which the garage door itself was open.
Mm.
So this exposes a clear view of the street outside. Moments later, Marlene goes to Sabrina's room and the crib is empty.
Okay.
Sabrina is nowhere to be found. Now, also missing was Sabrina's handmade blue and yellow blanket. Marlene immediately calls 911, and if you're interested, I have the call queued up. I can play it for you.
Yes, I would love to hear it.
Okay. This is from 2020, just so I cite my sources.
911. I need the police. My baby's been kidnapped. All right, ma'am, need to calm down. Okay. All right, take a deep breath. What do you mean your baby's been kidnapped? I just got up to wake my son up. My garage door was wide open. My house to my door was wide open, and my baby's gone out of the crib. How old is your baby? My baby is 5 months old. Oh, God, help me.
So
Wow.
the snippet of the 911 call, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So police responded quickly, launching what would become one of the largest manhunts in the area at the time.
Hmm.
So I'm going to go over a few details of what they discovered, just a few things to note.
Okay.
So Marlene said that the door to the laundry room had been closed the night prior. An unidentified shoe print was found in Sabrina's room. It was said to be larger than her father Steve's footprint. Also found in the crib was an unidentified blonde hair.
Hmm.
The Eisenberg house was equipped with an alarm system. However, it was one that was already there when they moved in.
Hmm.
And so they had never used it themselves.
Okay.
Throughout the night, the Eisenbergs did not hear an intruder. They weren't alerted to anything. Also, their dog, they had a dog by the name of Brownie. He did not bark. So take with that what you will.
Okay.
So police also spoke with the Eisenbergs' neighbors. One person reported that their dog barked at something in the middle of the night. Another said he heard a baby crying when he took his dog out that night. And then another said they heard or they saw headlights coming into the cul-de-sac in the middle of the night, which I
Okay.
guess could be unusual.
Yeah, especially a cul-de-sac, I guess, right? When
Yeah,
you're at the end of the street.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing there if you don't live there?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So there had also been break-ins in the neighborhood, and some of these households had young children. Despite all this, police did turn their suspicions towards Steve and Marlene, Sabrina's parents.
Yeah.
And there were a few things they pointed to that led them to this feeling. One of those was that despite footage taken of Marlene close up on the morning Sabrina vanished, where she looked very, you know, devastated, she's sobbing.
Hmm.
They thought that she seemed a bit cold in a plea that she made for Sabrina's return. And this is like
Okay.
a plea they gave to the news,
Okay.
but like
Yeah.
the police coached her through what to say, I guess.
Right. And she's probably never had to do that
Of
before,
course not.
like been on the news. Right.
And I'm not trying to, yeah, I'm trying to present this before I give my opinion.
Sure.
But yeah, it just, yeah. So I watched the clip. I don't think that she was being cold. She just sort of says, like, please bring our baby back. Stuff like that. Um,
Yeah. I wonder if like just her shock, she was in shock, like her shock could be misinterpreted too.
mhm. And she said actually in an interview, because she was criticized about this, she said, the police had coached her through what to say. She did it, and she said it took all of her strength to give
Mm-hmm.
this plea. And then the second it was over, she started sobbing. But then she said, of course, the cameras weren't on me at that point.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. The dog. Why didn't the dog bark?
Mm-hmm.
And there were conflicting statements about this. So the Eisenbergs claimed that the dog was calm,
Okay.
and some said otherwise. In fact, I remember watching an interview, I think it was like 48 hours or something, where they were like, somebody said the dog was a quote nut, very
Oh,
hyper.
okay.
So that's one thing that's kind of controversial, I guess, about this.
Yeah.
Also, was it planned? Not. Because
Mm.
the garage door being left open is an accident. So how would anyone have known it would be open? This would have to mean that someone was out driving
Oh,
or walking around looking for an opportunity. Why was Sabrina the only, and forgive me for using the word thing, but the only thing that was taken? There was no theft
okay.
of anything else.
Right. Like suggesting this was not like a robbery gone wrong, or they were targeting Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that was missing was Sabrina and her blanket, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing, how would the person, he or she, have known where to find Sabrina? Did they spend
Mm-hmm.
time in the house? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it even more unlikely. The longer they're in the house, the more unlikely that the Eisenbergs didn't hear anything.
Sure.
So yeah,
Right.
and there was no ransom note.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Just like a pure kidnap
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. So I'll
S-
pause there and we can
uh,
discuss a little bit.
So do you think is a theory could a theory be that Brownie potentially knew who was in the house, or like that it could be, of course, mom and dad, or someone known to Brownie?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that is a theory
Yeah.
that the reason the dog didn't bark is because the dog was familiar with
Mm-hmm.
whoever it was that came in.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know where Brownie was sleeping. I think about like my dog, and like my dog sleeps in my room.
Okay.
So my dog would hear a noise and bark, but not necessarily know like who it is
Yeah.
because she's like with me. So I guess I'm a little skeptical of any thoughts about Brownie unless I know like where Brownie was sleeping, or where Brownie was at the time that this would have happened.
And I just did a quick search because I didn't have this in my notes, but if it means anything to anyone, Brownie was a quote lively shepherd mix.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
So just big personality probably has something to say about people coming to its house. Just like,
yeah.
yeah, makes more noise. Yeah, I guess it would be surprising that Brownie wouldn't bark even at like hearing something coming into the house.
Yeah.
I could get on board with that.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's strange.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that the police have to look at like the people inside the home, but it leads me to wonder about like like any motive that the
Mhm.
parents might have. So that's I guess my next question. Um Especially because the other two kids I assume were at the house and were unharmed.
Yes.
Um I also feel like I don't give much weight to that interview and the way that was it Marlene, how Marlene was acting. I feel like that 911 call was incredibly genuine, is how it came across to me.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and yeah, that seemed like raw emotion to me. So I get put a little bit more weight on that call.
Yeah, I'm with you because also it's like you never go through something like that. You don't know how you would act. So, and then you're, put in front of a camera and asked to speak to the media. Like, obviously, like that's not a situation you can, you know, necessarily judge
Right,
how
right.
a
And then on top
person.
of that, you're coached. So I
Yeah.
don't know, you've just been through this trauma and then you were coached to say a certain thing.
Hmm.
And so you're just kind of focused on saying that certain thing and getting it over with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Carrying on with the investigation,
Mhm.
about 3 weeks after Sabrina's disappearance on December 12th, investigators received court approval to plant recording devices throughout the Eisenbergs' home,
Okay.
which this is so crazy to me that that is even a thing. People like, I don't understand how that would even be permitted. I don't get it.
Can they do that now?
That's a good question. I cannot believe they would, but I guess back
I
then
guess,
they did.
I guess if it's like court ordered, like the police just didn't do it. They like got permission to do it, but
Yeah, they got a court approved it, but like it just seems crazy like
they,
that could be
yeah,
a thing.
they must have felt like they had, yeah, it does seem like that. They must have convinced the court with enough evidence, I guess. Um, yeah.
Their theory was, yeah, so the police were then like working towards this theory that Sabrina was accidentally killed by her parents. And this is all
Uh,
a cover up. They staged this kidnapping to cover up whatever accidental death may have occurred.
I didn't even think of that.
That, yeah, so that's what the police were. The
Okay.
police couldn't believe that somebody would happen upon their house, know
Hmm.
exactly where to go within their house to get this baby
Hmm.
without alerting anybody, the dog or anyone else for that matter.
Okay.
So, yeah, so they get permission from the court to put recording devices, including in their bedroom, by the way, everywhere in the house.
Wow. Wow.
And over the course of the surveillance, they recorded more than 2,600 conversations.
Hmm. A lot.
Fast forward a little bit, just over 2 years after Sabrina disappeared, the Eisenbergs moved out of Florida and they moved to Bethesda, Maryland.
Okay.
I believe to Steve's childhood home.
Mm.
And they did this to try to escape the press and all the, the negativity. There was a lot of accusations being thrown at them, and they still had young kids that they were trying to raise. So they wanted to, I think Marlene said uh, they didn't feel comfortable raising their kids to respect the authorities back in Valrico because of how they were treating this case.
Okay. Yeah.
The father remarked that it seemed like they were looking for a body instead of their baby, and
Oh,
just the way what they were focusing on was not what they wanted. So they
yeah.
moved. They moved. Um, and in November of 1999, now this is almost 2 years after Sabrina disappeared, Steve and Marlene Eisenberg were arrested and charged with conspiracy, lying to investigators, and providing false information in connection with their daughter's disappearance.
Wow.
Prosecutors claimed that the charges were supported by conversations secretly recorded inside the Eisenberg home, beginning in December of 1997, as we discussed. Um, this is going to sound crazy, but just hear me out. According to police transcripts, Marlene was alleged to have made statements such as, quote, the baby's dead and buried. The baby's dead no matter what you say. And then Steve was allegedly heard saying things like, I wish I hadn't harmed her, and they don't know the truth, right? But these recordings would become the center of a huge controversy. And 2 years after that, a judge dismissed all charges against the Eisenbergs, ruling that the prosecutor had misrepresented the strength of their case. And furthermore, the audio recordings were like really garbled. And the
Oh.
statements that were attributed to Stephen Marlene could not be reliably understood or verified. And I've heard the snippet of these recordings, like it was from 48 Hours or 2020, I forget which. I
Mm-hmm.
remember hearing them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're garbage. Like they are garbage. You cannot hear. Like you have to, in my opinion, you have to like, it has to be like an invention of your mind
Oh,
to
like you
like
hear what you want
hear.
to hear.
Yes, because I listen to them like there's no like
Okay. Yeah, because those statements are pretty, yeah, would be
damning, right?
damning. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So my personal opinion, the I think the recordings are crazy. I can't believe like they were given permission to do that in the first place. And then secondly, it just seemed like I could not hear anything like that, even with the
Yeah.
subtitle. Like, and that's another thing when you put subtitles on there,
Yeah.
it's like you're telling the person what,
What to hear.
you're like feeding it to them.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's my
Mm.
opinion on that. So as the years passed, other theories surfaced. One of them well known in April of 2003. So this is 6 years after Sabrina goes missing. Investigators explored the possibility that Sabrina might be an unidentified child known as Paloma Unknown.
Mm.
And this was an infant who had been abandoned in Mexico and later raised by guardians in Illinois. And I want to show you actually a photo of the Paloma, the unidentified Paloma, and then of Sabrina, if I could,
Okay.
so you
Yeah.
can see. So these are all baby Sabrina.
Okay.
This girl here, yeah, I don't,
Uh-huh.
can you see my mouse
Yeah.
cursor?
Yes.
The girl in the pink here is the unidentified girl from that was abandoned in Mexico, okay?
Okay.
And the others, like this is an age progression. These are her parents, but
Okay.
this is Sabrina here.
Yep.
In particular, what is it? There was one, this one. I feel like this photo here of Sabrina. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
this photo of Sabrina and this one, like the same way their mouth does that thing.
Yeah. It kind of goes to the side.
Thank you. Like
That expression. Yeah.
I have to remember this is an audio podcast and people are I will post these to my Instagram also. But I found these two pictures striking just based on the way their faces look
Yes.
and how their mouth like they go to a little bit to the side.
Yes.
Anyway, and then they said that she was starting to resemble her older sister at the time, Monica, and
Okay.
this is Monica.
I see. Okay. I
Um,
think the Paloma looks more like Sabrina than Sabrina's like I don't know.
sister.
Yeah. But I see the resemblance in both. Like I could see
Mhm.
both ways.
Totally. I agree with you. I think Paloma looks like
Yeah.
very, very close to her.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely could believe they're related or the same person for sure.
Yep. Yep.
So more about Paloma. So yeah, so basically she was abandoned in Mexico, right? She was taken across the Mexican border by a teenage girl who claimed to be her mother. And this teenager gave Paloma to this woman named Molly Garza, who was a Spanish woman and may have been working in the textile industry. This is according to charlieproject.org.
Okay.
And this lady, Molly Garza, was being deported to Spain, so she couldn't take her child. So she gave Paloma to a friend who was a registered nurse at a migrant clinic. So I guess these off the book adoptions are not uncommon,
Okay.
especially on the Mexican border. She was given to um this lady's sister who was in Illinois. Fast forward to the part that is, relevant to this case. DNA testing was done, and because we're still talking about this on an Unsolved Mysteries podcast, it was not a match. So Paloma and
Yeah.
Sabrina are not the same person.
Okay. Okay.
And Paloma still remains unidentified.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, do you know, now I'm very curious about Paloma too. Like, did she stay with the nurse's sister in Illinois and like was fully raised by her? Now I just like want to hear Paloma's story too. There's like
Yeah.
two mysteries in one.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think from what I've seen, and I could dive deeper into this, but I believe she's still staying with this family, this
Yeah.
foster family.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, she's grown, right?
Yes,
Time
for
wise. Oh
sure.
my
So
goodness.
they think she was like 2 years old when she was discovered in 1998.
Okay.
So yeah, she'd be almost 30 now, or she would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But like,
So I will
but
I will look more closely into that, and maybe I'll post an update or something because
I wonder if she like knows she's unidentified. You know what I mean? Like, or if that part of her life was like hidden from her, or if she knows. My guess is she would know.
I would think she would know. I mean,
Eventually, she would start asking questions about that.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
think
But
so. I mean,
yeah,
especially when it's connected to such a, big
true.
case like this, right?
True.
To
That's
the point they
true.
tested her DNA and
Yeah. Yeah. I bet she would know. I bet someone eventually like told her
mhm,
that. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
yeah. Okay, just a couple more quick things and then we can discuss. In more recent years, there have been additional women who have come forward believing they might be Sabrina.
Okay.
In 2017, there was one woman who contacted the Eisenbergs through Facebook, saying she could find no records or photographs documenting the first several months of her life, and she believed she resembled the family's other children. Another woman made a similar claim. In each case where testing has been completed, DNA results have shown no relation, no connection.
Okay.
But the Eisenbergs have made their DNA available through multiple genealogy databases, including Ancestry, in the hopes that one day an answer might finally emerge. So far, no one else has come forward. And I watched an interview today with the parents now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, years after this.
Yeah.
Um, This sounds like such a obvious statement to make, but I was struck by, again, this is going to sound stupid, but just seeing them older. It's like, wow, they have aged.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that
right.
stupid? I mean, it's just like you can tell so now they actually have a
Mm,
grandson
yeah.
that stays in Sabrina's room.
Oh, wow.
And they still call it Sabrina's room. They still have her clothes and um
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
yeah.
I I get what you mean though, because this incident was a period in time and as we know the incident, it's them in that period of time. To like we're stuck on what happened at that time. And then in reality, like life went on. Um, I'm sure they didn't feel it all the time that their life was continuing to go, but yeah, like life happened to them even after this incident, you know.
You said that much more eloquently than I did. I'm like, they aged. Isn't that crazy?
you know what the when I was thinking, you know how I've heard stories, of children um who have been kidnapped um or even maybe older children, and their parents don't want to move in case their child like comes back. But I was thinking about how like Sabrina would not know where home is because she was just too little. So to me, like them moving also doesn't surprise me at all when you have to like other kids to raise and wanting to like leave the environment that could be like to be toxic to your family. That would make sense to me because Sabrina is not going to look go back knowing where her address is. So,
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that reminds me of like there's certain cases that I've covered or just even read about, and like the Brandon Swanson case comes to mind.
mhm.
College guy, middle of the night. Do you recall that case?
Yes, yes.
And his parents, I think they said something like they still leave their porch light on for him in case
Yeah.
he ever makes it home, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Um, or like, yeah, there's other cases I've read where it's been like, they've stayed in the same house and they haven't changed their phone number in hopes that so and so will come back.
Okay.
But that you make a good point. Yeah, Sabrina was just an infant, so
Right. Yeah. I also like those other women that came forward thinking maybe I'm Sabrina. It's like, whoa, what are their stories too? Like, I think it's hard for me to completely fathom like not understanding or like, not having pictures or documents to prove I am who I am. You never think about that until you hear these stories about people who have no idea what life was like for them early and where they come from. And that's just never something that, a lot of most people have to face, or so they don't even have to think about it. But I feel like that would be very disorienting, not knowing. And I'm sure a whole host of other feelings. But yeah, I wonder for them too, how they, deal with this and navigate finding their identity.
yeah, totally. That's a great point too. It's like there are all these little mysteries in a mystery, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. There's just like this like group of people searching for their identity and a group of people searching for their lost loved ones. Just really sad.
yeah, it's very sad. It's also fascinating
Yeah.
that things like this happen. I've done episodes of like people that were unidentified, they were found dead.
Hmm.
And they're still unidentified, decades even after
Oh,
their discovery. Um, Another interesting one is people that are alive, but they don't know who they are. And what I mean by that is I covered one case where there's a woman in like an assisted living
hmm.
facility, and she has, I believe her name was, they dubbed her China Black, and she was in an assisted living facility and she had no
Okay.
legs, and but she suffered some kind of severe accident or
Okay.
something. She had no memory of who she was.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There was another guy whose name slips escapes me right now, but he like woke up behind a dumpster somewhere and he
Oh
was
my
like
gosh.
severely beaten, like
Okay.
almost killed.
Yeah.
He had no clue who he was. And then like he just went on living his life. I saw that
Gosh.
one on Dr. Phil. He went on living his life and he just like I don't know if that one has been solved, but I'm rambling. I'm just saying like it's crazy to me like that these circumstances.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So I'm gonna jump back to the
please.
story again. Do you know if they tested the hair sample?
I don't know. And
Yeah.
then in a more recent interview with the parents, they were asked about that and they said they haven't been updated or anything like that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what their relationship with that police department is like now that, so much time has passed and maybe the relationship is different and maybe there are new folks in the police department there. But I wonder if they've just like ran that through like CODIS or whatever to see if they get any hits. I just feel like if this person was very quick, have they done this before? Yeah, or just, they're skilled at, I don't know, being a criminal or something. They've broken
Yeah.
into a house before.
But
Yeah.
also, is it like they're just like out and about, like looking for vulnerabilities out there, like the garage
Mm,
door being open? I mean, had they observed the family before? And they,
yeah.
and then if there's no ransom note or there's no like, yeah, there's no ransom note. You have, it's sad, but you wonder like, did they just want I think her family believes whoever took Sabrina wanted a child of their own to
Yeah.
raise. And that could be something they're saying to like maintain some hope. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, what do you think about that? Like,
Yeah, I feel like that's like a very reasonable conclusion. To me, they were either kidnapped, Sabrina was kidnapped because of some, I don't know, deranged person who wanted to kidnap someone and kill a baby, a person and a baby. Um, or someone who wanted a baby of their own. And that, you hear of those stories, horror stories happening. Um, and I feel like that tends to be a lot of women who do that, who harm someone else to get a baby. So that theory doesn't sound far fetched to me.
yeah, I would
I could see
agree.
that. Yeah, I could see that happening, which I understand like wanting hope. And so I do feel like there could be hope that she is alive.
I agree. I don't believe these parents are involved, and I'm sure people could catch on to that early on. I try to present the facts like, and without saying an opinion. But I don't see anything that strongly convinces me that these people did this.
Yeah, nothing stands out to me either about the parents. Are the parents doing anything now to try to find her? Do you know?
I saw an interview. I saw an interview of them. This was like, I think 2022,
Hmm.
maybe. And that's like the updated interview they did where they had significantly aged and they were talking about this. It sounds like they were strongly encouraging people to take DNA tests.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they're working with police or what they're doing. I could play an interview clip for you if you like.
I'd love to hear it from,
Yeah?
them. I think I just wonder, you never know how you're going to be in this situation, let alone how you're going to be years and years and years away from this situation. But you hear about some of these bigger cases and how these families are very active and still trying to like find their loved one. But then you also hear stories where like, yeah, their loved one disappeared and they're not really like doing anything. And you just wonder why certain families choose to, approach the situation differently.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to judge anybody for doing any which way. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. But you just hear of different ways that people react and deal with it.
Of course.
So I'm just curious what they might be doing. Like, is there a Facebook group? I've seen those before. I know a lot of people try to like pass policies or laws or whatever about
Yeah.
missing kids. They do, I don't know, they try to get the word out around the anniversary of the disappearance, things like that.
Yeah.
It also seems like they're waiting for her to just like discover that she's not who she thinks she is potentially, or wants to set out. She does know, but she doesn't, she hasn't been able to go look for her family. I mean, you hear those stories that they're adults and they finally find their family. So it's possible.
Yeah, I think in this case it is very possible. Like, I think she could be out there, honestly.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I forgot to mention this earlier, but
Okay.
one of the things they were criticized for, in addition to this plea that the police coached them to do,
Uh-huh.
it was like a few days or something after the disappearance, and the press was outside, and they were getting into a police car to like for more questioning or something. And as they're getting into the car, um, you can see Steve, the father, like smile.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
they tore him up
Mm-hmm.
for that
Mm-hmm.
because he smiled, or he was like laughing for a second. And
Mm-hmm.
he said later, like, you know, somebody said something funny. I smiled for a second, and then they
Right.
just took it and ran with it.
Right.
I forgot to mention that. I meant to mention that earlier and I forgot.
So, yeah, I'm sorry we're jumping around so much.
No, it's
So,
okay.
so
I'm sorry.
the garage door being up, what did Marlene say about that? That it's normally down, of course. So either the person who broke into the home opened the garage or was accidentally left up.
I believe it was left. I believe it
Up.
was left up. If I'm remembering correctly, I saw an
Right.
interview back then,
Yeah,
earlier on, and she said, you know, I think that's one of their biggest regrets that they'll ever have the
of
rest of their
course.
life, that they forgot. That was my understanding when I was
Yeah.
looking into this. So I think they left it open by mistake,
Ugh.
which has got to be awful just to
I
live with
mean,
that. Like,
right, but and who knows if it had been closed, what would have happened that night?
mm-hmm,
The Sabrina may still have been, taken.
for sure.
Um, but I could see why it would be. I mean, I don't want to leave my garage door open for these same reasons,
Right.
because of an opportunist. It, it also to me feels like I wonder if they questioned all the neighbors, because
Mhm.
they make good points about like how they know there was a baby who lived there, and this person clearly just wanted a baby and like didn't want anything else. So you don't just go into a home looking around for a baby if you don't know a baby is there.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so someone like that knows the family, and like a neighbor would see a garage, door open, I guess.
Mhm. That's a good point.
Or yeah, someone that knows the family, which makes this feel even worse to think that it was someone they knew.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This also reminds me of the John Benet Ramsey case because of like like pinning it on the parents, you know?
I've been, I've been diving back into that, the John Bonet, not to get off topic, but
Yeah.
I've been diving back into that, and that one's crazy too, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
so weird.
there's headlines recently about them doing like John Ramsey like saying coming out and saying they were going to do like more DNA testing, but speaking also about like how much time has passed. I mean, you see so much footage of John Bonet's parents, and being interviewed, shortly after that happened. And then now you see him and you're like, oh my goodness, he's in his 80s or something. It's just, but,
Yeah, and the brother.
anyways, I could see it being someone that the family knew.
You could.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I never like, I think you mentioned this, but I never like took it up and ran with it, but I could see it being someone that they knew or knew the house. It had been to the house before.
That's really, yeah, that's a great point. I never, for some reason, I didn't think about it. For some reason, in my head, it was like parents or stranger. But you're
Oh,
totally right. It could have absolutely been somebody that they've had contact with before.
right, right. It could have been just someone who delivered something to their house or like did work in their house to just like know that they have a baby. They might know how to get around in the house.
Sorry.
Putting myself in a situation where like I'm breaking into a house, like trying to picture like I would, I don't know. I just like feel like how quick could you actually be in like getting to where you want to be in a house when you're breaking into it? I don't know. It just seems so crazy unless you know the layout
Yeah,
of the
totally.
house.
Totally.
And you know like where that they have the thing you're looking for.
Right, because nothing else was taken. So
Yeah.
was it's not like you just go in, like, it's not like you're just going to go in a house and be like, let's see what kind of stuff I can get. And then you're like, oh, a baby, you know?
Right. Well, right. And I feel like that's a different criminal than someone who's looking for stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And nothing
Like
else was
this
taken.
string of break-ins in the community, like, or in the neighborhood, like I could see where, okay, maybe like they are related potentially, but Sabrina was the only one harmed. So, like, that to me is a different criminal than someone who's like just breaking in to, yeah, get stuff and leave. And like try not to, they're just like trying not to get caught.
Right.
This seems different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's completely possible that it was somebody, not that necessarily knew them, but knew of them.
Yeah, agreed. They don't necessarily, yeah, they're not necessarily buddies, but they knew of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, the world is scary.
That's really scary. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, it's really scary. And like, you think like people get dogs for this reason. And then like Brownie, nothing happened with Brownie that night. And it's just, I know this is why you have security systems now. And you
Right.
make sure that they're working. Anytime mine says like battery low, I'm immediately change out the batteries. I
Good for you,
cannot,
man.
I cannot be battery low.
That's good. I just can't imagine the parents, I mean, like having to experience that and then on top of that have to deal with all that scrutiny from the public. I mean,
Yeah,
I just don't see them doing it. Like I don't is it possible? Sure, but I
mm-hmm,
just don't believe that.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I tend to feel bad for them and I feel like they were put through hell a few different times. First their daughter is abducted and then they have to deal with the public like pointing fingers and analyzing every single move they make. I don't
Right,
know. I just never bought it
right,
personally, but I'm curious what other people think because maybe there's something I'm missing.
right. Yeah, I would be curious to hear what other people think. I mean, I think mm, is most of the time kids are harmed, it's like by family members. So it makes sense to have to like look at them as suspects or persons of interest. But I I do feel bad for them, assuming they're innocent of all of this. Feel very bad that they would have had to like gone through the most upsetting situation, I'm sure, of their life, and then you know have the finger being pointed at them in such a strong way. I'm sure they're like, yes, please look at us and then rule us out so that we can move on to the people, the people who actually did this.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, it's nice that there's DNA in this case.
mhm.
That's helpful. Um, but it feels like not enough to like figure out who did it.
Yeah, and if the unidentified hair is not in their database already,
Yeah.
that,
Well, that,
it's not going to do anything unless they are able to find someone to match it.
well, that's true. Hopefully it is
Hmm.
in the database.
I just mean if they test the hair
Mm.
and there's no match, like, of
Oh.
anyone in their database already,
Oh.
you know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah.
It would have to be a situation then where they
Right.
keep that on file, I
Hmm.
would think.
And
I'm
hopes
not going to
that
pretend to know. I have an Unsolved Mysteries podcast. I don't know, man.
I don't know most things, but I like to ponder them.
Me too.
Um,
That should be like a tagline for the show. I don't know most things, but I like to ponder them.
I
Um,
mean, I let the experts be the experts, but
yeah, we just speculate on this podcast. We
right.
speculate and we talk about these unsolved cases. That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is a really sad one. I think about my own kiddos and just woof, that's
Yeah,
yeah, really
as a mom, that has to
devastating.
be.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about how little they are when they're like 5 months old, just yeah, teeny tiny. And I know you said a neighbor heard a baby crying,
Hmm.
but like yes, my baby at 5 months like knew I was their mom, but they don't have stranger danger. They're crying because they were like, woken up,
Yeah, they're like
probably.
fussy for something.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
fussy. Like, if I were to wake up a 5 month old, that's my 5 month old. Like, she's not 5 months now, but when she was, like, that would have been, she would have just been sad that I was waking her up.
right.
Um, and there's a chance I could calm her down really quickly. So I guess like, um, I'm not like reading into the baby crying other than like if someone neighbor heard the baby, then clearly the baby was disturbed in some way, but we already know that because they were kidnapped.
A baby.
So
They heard a baby.
they heard a baby.
It could have
Yeah.
very well been Sabrina.
Right. Right. And if it was, I guess it's just like, yeah, well, they could have just been fussy when this kidnapper picked them up,
Right.
or
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
totally. But then you go back to why didn't the parents hear that?
right. That's true. That's true.
Again, not criticizing them because I don't believe they did.
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean, maybe they have a very loud sound machine in their room.
did those exist back then?
Maybe not. It's a good question.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, it's a good question. That and like baby monitors. I don't know.
I remember in my childhood there were baby monitors.
Were there?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
they're not like the
wonder.
ones today where you see them on, like the cameras and
Oh,
all that. But
right. So maybe there was just like noise, not a camera.
oh yeah, no camera. It looked like a walkie-talkie from what I remember.
Yeah. 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 I also wonder like how common they were. With like as more time has gone on, there's like more societal anxiety about this kind of stuff. So we
Yeah.
have maybe more parents having them now than there were. Um, yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, because if there's a chance they would have heard something happening in the room, potential, but just potentially, like if you're so quiet, there's a chance you hear nothing on those monitors.
Or if you're a deep sleeper, I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like taking my own experience as a parent, like there are times when it takes to wake up from like a deep sleep. It can take a second to realize like, that's my kid on the monitor making noise.
Yeah. Sure.
So I don't know. I guess I don't pin this on the parents either, but I guess if that's like what happened, if that's what ends up being the result of this, like at least we would know, but I just don't see it either.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised because I see no motive. I mean, I don't see anything that directly makes me think that's sketchy.
Yeah.
Like nothing really. I mean,
I
but
agree.
others can disagree if they want. I'd love to hear from everyone.
Yeah. Same.
Suzi, thank you so much for doing this with me.
I had a blast
You
talking to
gotta
you.
come back and do it again, would you?
Okay. 100%.
One minute and 43 seconds is dedicated to my number one fan. Thanks, Dad. I love you and I miss you. This podcast has been approved by Skipper the Cat. Right, Skippy?